and welcome to this video tutorial with me, Wayne, from DrClean.co.uk. As with all these tutorials, the aim is to make you a better ironer and a more efficient ironer, so you do things in improved quality but in far less time. And in this particular tutorial we're going to go over the basics of all your ironing. Now, if you're using an iron with a boiler, that's steam generation all the time, like this one, then the first and most important thing you can do is do what I'm doing now. Before you touch anything with the iron, release the steam so you make sure that the steam is flowing smoothly. If you don't do that, there's a backup of steam that becomes superheated and it comes out with a real jet that, if you're on delicate fibres and delicate fabrics, especially heat sensitive fabrics, can blow a hole straight through the fabric. Okay, so we have a pillowcase to iron. The first thing to do is make sure it's flat. How do you make sure it's flat? Well, you do that with your hands. There's creases underneath there, I can feel it, but no creases anywhere else. So the idea, really, or ideal, is really to get rid of the creases that you can feel so you don't put them in. Now, this particular crease is on the inside section, you can see there, and I can get rid of that by ironing on the inside if I really wish. So we're using our hands as a pretend iron always before we put the iron on. Very important. Secondly, when you do put the iron on, increase the tension that you've got in the garment. So I put my iron on, I increase the tension and I run up and down. And run up and down, if you can, in a straight line. Notice I did that in 3 straight lines, not trying to do too much of an area at once, and certainly not doing this all the time, because that tends not to do anything particularly well. You want even pressure over the iron, pushing forwards and back. And that's what pushing forwards and back gets you. Side to side, you're taking pressure off all the time. You're not getting an even result with your iron. Okay, secondly, if you have to iron at the end of your board, move to the end of the board. So if I want to iron here and say iron that seam in, I will have to move there. You don't want to iron under a stretch from here because you can't feel it properly and you can't be certain you're going to get a good job. Now, if you noticed, I've been moving the fabric this way towards me. It's far easier to control fabric moving it towards you than it is throwing it away, because you've got lots of control as it's coming into your sight. So if I were you, that's the way I would move anything round a board towards you. Right, remember, release the steam, increase the tension, and up and down. There we go. Make sure it's flat with both hands, up the seam, back down the seam again. Now we've done that, and effectively we do have a reasonably good job the other side now, just to check. But what we'll do, now, I can feel that there was a crease here. What I'm doing now is I'm just rolling that crease out from underneath. You can see I'm using my fingers to roll it out. Then on, tensions, and one movement, and I've set the crease. I mean, some of you might not like a crease in a pillowcase. I particularly do. I think it makes it look fresh. But this is just really showing you how to do something. Again, I felt it, put in that crease. Now, when you've done the ironing and you know you've got a good result, you really want to do what I've just done and just let the heat go out of it. Because what you'll find otherwise, if you don't let the heat and the steam go away, it will actually go limper. And that's exactly what you don't want. What you want is a crisp finish to your ironing. If you're going to bother ironing, why not get a crisp finish like that? Okay, there's the basics. Run through that again. The first thing, clearly, if you've got a steam generator, release the steam before you start ironing. Secondly, sensitize your hands and use those hands as pretend tend irons to make sure you've got the underneath completely flat as well as the top. Thirdly, move around the board so that you actually are right above your ironing. Don't stretch to where you can't actually reach. Pull things towards you instead of push things away from you. And finally, make sure you tension up something before you put your iron across it, if it's something like cotton or polycotton, because it does really get a crisp look when it's under tension. Do not, however, tension up a knitwear, because knitwear is a knitted fabric, not a woven fabric. It's far looser and you might damage and warp the fabric. Lastly, a final thing, if in doubt, don't. If your gut feeling ever says to you, "Ooh, I'm not quite sure about that," it's probably right. Just put the garment aside, don't do that particular thing that you're going to do. You might be able to do something else, but don't do that particular thing. There you go. The basics of ironing, hopefully that'll help you move along to actually far better ironing in the future.